nation. This is the way that we bring it down. Down, down, 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 down. Igniting the fire within you. Exalting the melody of freedom. These are the things that will bring it down. Down, down, 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 down. So gather the faithful. Tell everyone to stand and shout loud. Shout loud. Shout loud. Let's bring it down. Let's bring it way down. Let's bring it down. Let's bring it down, down. Let's bring it down. Let's bring it way down. Let's bring it down. Let's bring it down, down. Down, down, down.
Let me tell you, it's in the air. Joy is in the air. Love is in the air. Can you feel it? What it feel like? Freedom. What it feel like? Don't sleep on it, brother. You might get left, sister. Can you feel it? What it feel like? Freedom. What it feel like? Justice. No need to be counted, cause I am down. Down, down, down. Down, down, down. Down for the end of racism, for the end of bigotry, cause I am down. For the end of misogyny, that's right. For all the isms out there, just down, down, down. Let's bring it down. Rise up, people. No more foolishness, and let's bring it way down.
Riding the river of change into the cries of contrition. This is the way that we bring it down. Down, down, 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 down. We are the children of Eden, dancing and celebrating freedom. We are the ones that must bring it down. Down, down, 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 down. So gather the faithful. Tell everyone to stand and shout loud. Shout loud. Shout loud. Let's bring it down. Let's bring it way down. Let's bring it down. Let's bring it down, down. Let's bring it down. Let's bring it way down. Let's bring it down. We've got to bring it down. Down. Stand up and shout. Stand up and shout. Rise together.
Accountability starts now. The Eric Dawson Radio Show.
Yeah. Rise up. Stand up, shouting loud.
If you are not prepared to come to that table and to represent that voice, don't come. Because we don't need any more brown faces that don't want to be a brown voice. We don't need black faces that don't want to be a black voice. We don't need Muslims that don't want to be a Muslim voice. We don't need queers that don't want to be a queer voice. And if you're worried about being marginalized and stereotyped, please don't even show up.
Okay.
There you go.
Welcome
That's right.
everybody.
Tell 'em it.
Welcome everybody to another episode, a snowy episode. You know, I should have done a video of outside and then made it my green screen and just had it loop, right? So you could see the snow outside. But it is snowing again, and it's going to snow until tomorrow. But welcome everybody. I want to say this. We have made a commitment here because we've heard you that we are going to show more decorum. No screaming, no yelling, no talking over. When necessary, as the moderator, I will reset the conversation so that people are clear about what we're talking about and all that other kind of stuff. So we've all made a commitment to do better. So thank you guys for weighing in and letting us know. So, well, there are a lot of things. Can I say this first? Like, so just dumb stuff first, right? You know, I'm a huge advocate for putting like your living room furniture outside to hold your parking space when it snows and you shovel out the snow. Like, if you want to,
Especially that post that you have with the kitchen table set up.
yeah, like if you want to put your California king size waterbed out there to hold your space, cool. Right? Like, go for it. But like, there has to be a time limit because now we're getting more snow, right? So people like yesterday were still putting furniture out to hold parking spaces from the snow from before, and now it's snowing again. And you just shouldn't be able to hold it over that long. And so, because people don't know how to behave, I think I'm going to rescind my support for that behavior. You know, and here's the other thing. Beyond rescinding my support for that behavior, I think it is incumbent upon the police department, given how quickly, did you see the video of the guy, of the woman and man who were murdered by their across the street neighbor? Did you see that video, Vincent?
No, I did not.
Right. So there was a confrontation over the snow. So I don't know exactly what the confrontation was about. But the woman and her husband were mouthing off. I'm going to ask you to hit mute. The woman and her husband were mouthing off at the hold on, let's bring Diane in. Diane.
Eric Dawson.
Oh, see, you just
No way.
no, I know, but you missed me saying that I was rescinding my
I know,
support.
that's why I said it.
Rescinding my support for putting my so I'm going to get my furniture out the street now.
Your dining room table.
I'm going to get my dining room. We've been eating on TV trays because I've been holding my parking space. Oh gosh.
So,
But did you see the video of the man and his wife who were murdered by their across the street neighbor?
yes, I did. No. I'm sorry. I did not see the video. I read the article, the news article.
Okay.
First,
So
when it
the
first
video,
happened.
so I'm going to send you the video because I have it. Unless
So
they
let me
take
describe what they said and see if it's the same. They said that the couple was outside. He was in his house across the street. He came out. They had words. The couple still stayed outside. He went back inside to get his gun. He fired off a warning shot first. They were still going back and forth, and then he shot him, went inside, and by the time the cops got there, he killed himself too.
Nope, nope. That's part of what happened.
Okay.
Right? So here is how crazy it was. He did fire warning shots. They kept mouthing off. So then he shot both of them. Right? And then he walked up point blank to them and shot each of them. And then he went into his house and got a like a rifle of sorts or like a something and came back out, an assault weapon, came back out and then finished them off. and then calmly walked back into his house.
And shot and killed himself.
So here's what I'm gonna say.
Mental illness is real.
Well, it is real, right? And
you don't know who you're going to be up against, and this is why I say it's not worth it. But go ahead.
So
maybe the simple fact of mouthing off with people is, can be detrimental to your health.
Well, okay. So, right. I mean, all of that, right? I mean, you have to look when you a couple things. You have to be willing for anything to happen once you engage somebody.
That's right.
And if you're not, then don't engage them. Because you can't set the terms of what they're going to do.
What their reaction is going to be.
Right. You can't do that, right? So, but back to the snow thing. Because we know people have gotten killed, have gotten assaulted, like all kinds of crap happens over these parking spaces. Like real talk now, right? I think that it is incumbent upon the municipalities where it happens for them to send out a robocall saying that it is a violation of the law to do it. And that anybody who does it will be, you will get a summons. I think that it is imperative that they do that. Right? And now, see, because what they do is they leave it up to me when I get home and I want to go park. Right now, I have to look and say, you know what? I'm going to move this mofo's garbage can and park there, right? Knowing that there is a better than 50% chance that there's going to be a confrontation. Everybody knows that, right? And so when I go to move it, in my mind, I'm going, I wish a motherfucker would. But when he put it there, what did he say? I wish a motherfucker would. Right? No, but I'm being very serious right now. And so the police know, they know. I think it's an incumbent. What does it take to do a robocall that says a reminder? It is illegal to hold a parking space. I would consider it to be littering, right? And then fine them for littering. Do you understand what I'm saying? Like, fine them. Fine them for littering.
Give them the same fine that you would get for parking in a handicap.
Right.
So the Township of Union did a robocall last night about 7:30 to tell their residents to move their cars off the streets. Otherwise, they could be subject to ticket and towing at their own expense because a snowstorm is coming. Hillside Police Department put on Facebook to let people know to move your cars off of not the ancillary roads, but the main roads. And they gave them the list of the roads that they need to be off of. The Township of Union went as far to tell them, if you need parking, you should be neighborly to help share your parking in your driveway, or here are all the municipal lots and school buildings in which you can park in.
Right. I get all of that, Diane. I'm just going like beyond that, right? Beyond that. And so now, see, like I said, this show is an evolution of Eric Dawson, right? Because,
Last 2 weeks ago.
2 weeks ago, I was like, yo, park your, dig your space out. If you spend 2 hours digging your space out, you should be able to blah, blah, blah. But what I'm going to say is this. People don't know how to behave.
I told you.
They don't know how to behave, right? And so if people knew how to behave, see, because this is where I drew the line. Like I said, I get like when we had all that snow. I mean, we have a driveway, so it was not an issue. But let's say I didn't have a driveway, and so I had to dig myself out. It took me 2 hours to dig myself out. I got in my car because I dug myself out, had to go around, go to Stop and Shop. When I get back, if there's a car that has now pulled out of their driveway and decided to park where I just dug out for 2 hours, I'm going to be mad, right?
Yeah.
Right? So now my thing was there should be like a grace period where if you're neighborly, you understand that I just dug that out, right? And so because you're not neighborly, right, which is why I put something there to hold my space, right? And then people, for the most part, honor that. But like I said, we've had like 2 days of rain after that big snow, and people are still putting stuff out in the street. Enough, right? And now it's snowing again, and so now what? You just gonna keep your parking space until June, right? And not only that, littering the neighborhood. At least my dining room, at least my dining room table looked nice.
Yeah,
Right.
because you had china, you had
Yes.
silverware,
See, at least
you had napkins.
Yes, at least I took the time to make sure I set the table. And look, I wasn't even mad when my neighbors sat down to eat. Like, I looked out the window sometimes and they were sitting there eating. I didn't say a word.
Neighbors sitting down to eat is the best part. You know what I mean? You could have came home and found your silverware and china gone.
But so I think that, and I'm gonna petition at least my town, and I'm gonna say, hey, look, I don't want to look at this anymore. I think that you guys should do something about it.
And most towns have stuff on the books.
No, I know they have it on the books, Diane. And in fact, there was some police officer posted on Facebook that it was against the law. But I'm like, that's not enough.
So some towns do have it on the books already. They just don't regulate or oversee the laws that are on the books as they should. They pick and choose what they decide to go
Right.
after. But last week, the Township Hillside Police Department came around and picked up everybody's furniture out the street.
No, see, that's not enough. See, can I say this to you
So
too?
I don't know if they wrote tickets with that.
They got to write tickets. They got to write tickets, right? They got to write tickets. They have to enforce it. Taking the furniture. See, because I want my police officers doing something more meaningful than picking up furniture off of the street. Right? And so if all they're going to do is pick it up, the people are going to put more down. The only way that they're going to stop is if they get punished. Right? So you got to punish them. Now, I got to say this. Jody was talking about the song, our theme song, Down, Down, Down. Jody, my brother wrote this song. And my brother produced this song. And his neighbor upstairs, he lives in Harlem. His neighbor is playing some of the instruments in the song. And my sister-in-law, my brother's wife, is the female who you hear. That's her voice on it. I think it's an amazing song, and he told me that he just what did I tell you he did, Vincent?
He remixed it.
Remixed it, right? Or so he's got another master, right? So he realized that some things were off or whatever, right? So his ear is more tuned now than it was before. So he's like, wait until you get this. It's gonna be really hot. You're gonna have to. But listen, I'm gonna tell you guys this, right? And I mean this, not just because he's my brother, but when I heard the song, I thought the song was so relevant to the time, right? So relevant to the time. So not only does it have like a hot beat and all that other kind of stuff to it, listen to the words. It should be the anthem. It should be the clarion call. Bring it all down.
Well, it's definitely Eric Dawson's anthem. And
down, down, down.
Because you're all into destroying the system.
Yeah. So listen, somebody asked me what I was drinking. I'm drinking my kombucha. Ha ha. Diane, this is my 6th bottle. I had 6 bottles out of the last batch I made. I got another batch upstairs, and it's actually ready. It's finishing its first fermentation, and it's ready for a second fermentation. So in this batch that I have now, I added mango in some, I added soursop in some, and I added pineapple in some. And so what happens when you brew the kombucha? So kombucha is a fermented tea, right? It's taking tea and taking a SCOBY, and again, I forgot what it's a symbiotic something organism, right, thing that grows from the environment that exists in there, right? So you have the SCOBY in there, and it's feeding off of the sugar from the tea that you brew, and then it goes through its first fermentation over about 10, 15-day period. Then after that, you can just drink it then, right? But to take it to the second fermentation is where you can get the carbonation, right? So I bought these really cool bottles from the dollar store, and so they're, they have the seal, like the little clamp that you seal it down, look like the old-fashioned milk bottles. And yeah, you just put the fruit in, and so by putting the fruit in, the bacteria, the good bacteria, eat are feeding off of the sugar from the fruit. And because you have it sealed, right, you wind up creating gases in there, which is the carbonation. So I'm drinking the one that has the, this one has soursop. It had soursop in it. It is amazing. And so you got all kind of great stuff, probiotics, and it's just amazing for your digestive system, your liver, kidneys, all kinds of stuff. Hey Jody, if you're listening, did you order your SCOBY? Yeah, the guy upstairs is the guy who plays the flute, Jody. It is an amazing song, and I don't know. I'm doing my best to get it out there, so people hear it and share it and whatever, But anyway, my brother's a very talented guy. Can I tell you one story about him? I got a bunch of stories, but I'll tell you one. He used to have a brownstone in Brooklyn, right? And it was a beautiful brownstone. And it was one of the ones where, like, you go up the stairs from the sidewalk, and then you go in and you got this beautiful foyer, and then, it's just massive ceilings inside. But if you're on the sidewalk, you can go around those stairs and you go downstairs, and in most brownstones, there's an apartment, right? So he took and converted the apartment just into like more living quarters for them when they moved there. So they redid the bathroom and the kitchen, the whole bit, right? And it was beautiful. And then about 3 years after they were living there, I get a frantic call from his wife. And she says, "You got to come over to Brooklyn now." I said, "What's going on?" He says, "Ali has a sledgehammer and he's tearing down the walls downstairs." I said, "What?" She said, "No, really. He is like wrecking the walls downstairs." So I ask her to put him on the phone. He doesn't get on the phone. So literally, I get on a train and go to Brooklyn. I get there, and sure enough, like, she opens the door, and you could hear him whack, whack. So I go and I said, "What are you doing?" So he said he's building a recording studio. So I said, "Dude, you're not a contractor. You don't know how to do that." So he said, "I bought some Time magazine books." He said, "I bought some Time magazine books, and it shows you step by step how to build a studio." And like 2 weeks later, so he was focused on this. 2 weeks later, I get another call from her, and he's still wrecking stuff, clearing it out. They got a dumpster now. They're throwing stuff out. He has these big trailers coming, dropping off lumber and sheetrock. So I go back over and I'm like, "You serious?" He said, "Yeah, I'm gonna build a studio." Like, at first I thought like he really like kind of lost his mind. He built an amazing studio. I sat and watched him over the course of took him about 8 months, but he actually built a studio. And then he was renting it out. So artists, in the area, whatever, would come and they would rent space, rent time in the studio. And he taught himself how to play 3 instruments and all this other kind of stuff. And so he's an amazing guy. He's an amazing guy. So anyway, Down, 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 down. That is my story about that.
So, Eric, the kombucha, it is so weird that you asked me about the kombucha because this morning, we had like a lot of ice out here. I actually got up and went to the store and bought 4 bottles, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like $20. And I thought of you because what I need is I couldn't remember which show it was that you put the instructions and the information in the thread. So could you just send that to my phone?
Yes, I will. I will.
Please.
Yep.
Thank you.
Yeah, because it's expensive, Jody. Like, yeah, it's expensive. But brewing it yourself, like I said, my thing, it actually makes more than 6 bottles. It probably makes more like 7 bottles, and it's 12 tea bags, and a cup and a cup and a half of sugar.
So these are 16 ounce bottles, and it's $4 plus that.
Yeah. No, you don't want to do that again. You don't want to do. And if you were close to me, I could give you a SCOBY because mine has birthed another SCOBY. And so that's what people do. Yeah. So once you start brewing it, right, you'll see another SCOBY form. And so then you can actually start brewing 2 batches, right? And then SCOBYs will form, and then you can. And so what people do, like my daughter, she's the one who got me hooked on this. She lives in Oregon, right? And so she's like real granola, crunchy, walking around in Birkenstocks and all that kind of stuff, right? That's what she does. And so, she shares SCOBYs with her friends, and they all kind of do that thing. And so she called me because, Daddy, for your digestive tract, you wanna do this. So she sent me all the information and got me started, and I'm hooked. And Diane, we were talking about this, and Diane found the lady. There is a lady, not was. She, in 2012, right? She just had the same idea. Like, she just didn't want to pay for kombucha. It was too expensive. So she started brewing it at home, right? And then all of her friends liked her brews. So she would make, and, because you just make it, and, it's easy to make. And it's fun to give people some. And so more people would request it, and then she decided that she was going to start selling it. So she started going to farmers markets and selling it, right? And Diane, how many stores is she selling in now?
I don't know, but her business is now a multi-million-dollar business.
35,000 stores she sells in. Wow. She sells in 35,000 stores. She started in 2012 brewing kombucha. That's crazy, right?
Diane, your mic is breaking up.
But she sells, and I bought a bottle of hers the other day, and it was good, but again, $4. $4.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So did you try hers, Eric?
I did. She had a watermelon, but what she does is, like, mine is, I use fresh fruit in mine, so she infuses it with watermelon, and I don't know what her infusion process is. And I'm not gonna do that. I mean, but when watermelon season comes, right? Because I like the way it tastes. So what I'll do is when I brew a batch, I'll just when I go into my second fermentation, I'll just put watermelon in there.
I don't want nothing with watermelon in it. Pick another fruit.
You sensitive about watermelon? Diane, you said. Diane said, I don't eat no grits. I don't want no watermelon.
Now I want no more fried chicken. I'm mad. I don't think I'm ever going to be that mad.
Yo, listen. Rush Limbaugh.
No.
Right?
Another one bites the dust.
So, and I gotta say this. I'm not big on dancing on people's graves, right? But that was an evil dude. Just evil, straight evil guy. And what it shows you.
Heaven or hell or stuck in purgatory.
Well, did you read some of the? No, he's in hell. But did you read some of the? I put up some memes, some quotes that he, that are attributed to him. And one. Let me get to them. I put a few up just so people can ponder. Well, somebody put this one up. It said, and he did do this. Rush Limbaugh mocked Eric Garner's death, Michael J. Fox's Parkinson's disease, Ruth Bader Ginsburg's cancer diagnosis, Kurt Cobain's death, feminists, civil rights activists, and Native Americans, and celebrated on air when people died of AIDS. He did all of that, right? Here's one quote of Rush Limbaugh's. Yes, I spoke a little Negro dialect there. I can do that when I want to. Quote unquote. Here's another one. Let me put it to you this way. The NFL all too often looks like a game between the Bloods and the Crips without any weapons there. I said it. Right? That's Rush Limbaugh. I'm going to read another one. A long time ago, the feminazis began their quest to make women more like men, which is what feminazism is. Essentially, all about to dress like us, acquire power like us, have careers like us, all that. That's really what it was all about. And then here's my favorite quote. Slavery built the South. I'm not saying we should bring it back. I'm just saying it had its merits. For one thing, the streets were safer after dark. Rush Limbaugh. Now, I fully expected Fox News, right, to drool over Rush Limbaugh's death and lift him up and talk about this fine legacy, right? But when you listen to mainstream media and they don't call him what we all know he is, it cements what I've been saying to you. They're all complicit. They're all complicit. Dude, straight up racist. They didn't say that though. Channel 7, Channel 2. No, I'm talking about Channel 7, Channel 2, MSNBC. They're not saying that. Listen to the words. Simple words. He's a racist. That's it. But they won't say it because they support. See, people like I said about Donald Trump and Hillary Clinton, got a problem with how he says it, but not his support for that system. And see, they appreciate the fact that he supports the system because all of their children and their grandchildren can look forward to being beneficiaries of all of the networking and accoutrements that come with it, right? They'll get that. And that's why they won't call him what he is. That's crazy. I'm sitting there. I mean, like I said, Fox News. So I turned Fox News on because I just want to watch them all. I mean, you should see them. I mean, they just want to cry. Rush Limbaugh's dead. That guy got the presidential honor, right? That guy.
By what president?
What?
By what president?
But it doesn't matter what president. See, but the point that I'm making to now, let me ask you this question. Same thing, right? The media, See, because this is where you again, Vincent, want to put on a president, want to put on Trump. I'm saying a system supported it. Because where was the system to condemn it? They didn't.
There were systems that.
No, there were individuals. There were a few.
Here's the big reason why Fox is
No,
crying
listen to
about
me.
Rush Limbaugh, because they just signed him to a multi-million-dollar deal to go on Fox after Trump.
No,
because they needed somebody to drive up ratings again. But for them, it was all about the money, and for Rush, it was all about the money. But the damage that he caused is almost irreversible. It's going to take years for us to beat down that false narrative, those lies that he spread, that overt racism. And the main reason he did it is because, as radical as he got, more people started listening. And it's a shame. But, I mean, and look, I'm not a big person to talk ill of the dead. I mean, but, you know,
He was a piece of shit.
he was a piece of shit. See, people, listen to me. People don't, listen. People don't, like, when I say Adolf Hitler to people, they don't go, oh, you know, I don't want to talk ill of the dead. Right? They don't do that. Right? They don't. Right? So, listen, this guy was responsible for a lot of, pardon my French, some fucked up shit in this country.
I agree.
Right. Say it. Let's not walk on eggshells about it. I mean, it's crazy. So on one hand, we sit as bottom people and we talk about the culture here and all these other kinds of things. And this guy who had 20 million people listening to him, who was beating that drum every fucking day for 3 hours, we go, I don't want to speak ill of him.
Well, I will say one thing, like I said, you know, and I'll say it again. It's going to take us a while to fight back all the bull crap that he spread, all of the false lies, false narratives, and especially for people of color, because we were always the brunt of his attacks. And, you know, I was still waiting for him because he said if Obama wins a second term, he was going to leave the country. He still hasn't left.
Right, they're right. I understand. So, but here's my thing, right? So when you say beat back all of these things, see, because I want you to understand how I see this. The way to beat it back would be for those people who say that they have our back to call him what he was. A racist. A bigot. A xenophobe, a homophobe. Call him that. Right now. See, put a dagger in it right now, right? Because if you do it now that he just died, right? It would resonate in a powerful way. Because, like you said, Vincent, most people would feel uncomfortable speaking ill of the dead. So to me, this would be a seismic, like it would be colossal to do it now while people are revering him. But they're all silent. See, so and then I don't want to talk about people of color. I want to talk about bottom people. I don't want to talk about other people. They got their own fight. I'm saying my fight with my people against this stuff, and I'm watching other folks who have bully pulpits that they could stand up right now while this is all open and talk about it and say, no, we're not going to allow you to make this guy a hero. We're not going to allow you to do that. That's what they should be doing. And they're not doing it. You see, and it's not, and their lack of doing it isn't benign. It speaks volumes about where they stand. And we have to see it for that.
So, Eric, do you know who Nicole Wallace is on MSNBC?
Uh-huh.
She railed on him. At first, I was a little concerned because I felt like they were not mentioning him. To them, that was their fight against him, is to just not mention his name. But Nicole Wallace is, she is one of my favorites. She has to control herself very often to not use profanity, which I kind of dig personally. But yesterday she did, I forgot where or how he came up, but I think she called him like, the racist guy. Their Fox 5 is having a good time morning today, and that was like her putting in, and that was it. But other than that, no one mentioned his name, and I guess that's what they consider their protest against him, is to just not mention him. But like you said, that's just not enough. Not enough.
It's not enough. It really is not enough.
So let me ask this question: what would be the appropriate response? What would be the appropriate action?
I just told you. They literally, you know what they should do? They should use their airwaves, right, to play every freaking racist thing he ever said. Just loop it. Just loop it. Just loop it. So until the stench is so deep in your freaking nostrils that you vomit. That's what they should do. Not, oh, by the way.
I'll wait to see all that on your post. Just loop it all, Eric. Just loop it all. Share it. Put it up there. I'll share it. We can get it all out and, call it for what.
No. It's not, no, but you're missing my point, Vincent. Right, but you're missing my point, Vincent. I'm talking about these white liberals, right, who say that they care so much about us, that they want equality and they want healing and they want all of these things, but they're willing to sweep this under the rug.
Because a lot of people feel it to be a little civil not to talk ill of the dead. But, the true meaning of what he was, we know.
No. You know. Wait a minute, Vincent, but here's what I'm saying. Vincent, you know it. I know it. You know it and I know it.
So, okay, since we know it, let us now work on counter.
So let me ask you a question, Vincent. Why did the media show the people scaling the walls over and 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 over again? Why did they do that?
Well, there are two things, or two theories that come to mind. One, sensationalism. The second is the ability to control the narrative.
That's right. There you go. That's it.
Two is the desensitization of it.
No, they know.
Just
No.
Talking about Rush Limbaugh over and over again gives people a sense of desensitization.
No. The reason they did the reason they did it, the reason that the media did it is because they were trying to set a narrative, right? And they wanted people to be fully aware of what had taken place. And then as they looked to figure out how they were going to address it, right? And then ultimately impeaching Donald Trump and then going through the trial in the Senate, right? You had all of it. So all of America got to see it, right? Were informed about it. And what I'm saying is this: do the same thing here. Do the same thing here. See, because when we look at, because the insurrectionists, right? I would almost guarantee you that greater than 70% of them listen to Rush Limbaugh.
And Sean Hannity and the
right.
other
So how do you? So how do you?
Right wing.
So how do so right? And so what I'm saying is this: how do you address them without? But this is what they're good at, right? They don't never get to the root. They never go to the root. They always go to the symptom, not the disease, right? So in this case, Rush Limbaugh, he was a tumor, right? So there's a bigger tumor, but Rush Limbaugh, and that tumor has started to metastasize, and so Rush Limbaugh, right, became his own tumor, and then through his show, he spewed, this disease, and it began to metastasize, and then we saw, right, what occurred. And I'm saying, so you can't have that conversation over there about insurrectionists and white supremacy, because the same media, they spent a whole year, right, during the election talking about white supremacy, white supremacy, white supremacy, white supremacy. Dude, I never heard so many white people talk about white supremacy in my life. And now, one of the biggest white supremacists, they ain't gonna talk about him because we don't want to speak ill of the dead.
For him, and you know they're not going to talk about him. In the newspapers, they're praising him, talking about all the great things that he was able to get out there, the vision.
And I'm telling you, the fact that, like,
See, the only issue that I truly have with Rush Limbaugh, and I'll say this, is that Rush Limbaugh had millions of followers, which the only issue that I have is that he used that platform for evil, in which he could have worked on building a better country, building a better world, if he used it for something positive. Yet he decided to go after the dollars, because the more that trash he talked, the more people started listening, which gave him more power to buy more airwaves to spread that propaganda. And that for me is a lesson in terms of, if Eric Dawson and Vincent Squire have media outlets, and Diane have media outlets where we can do the exact thing. Let's start spreading the information, not the disinformation. Let's start spreading the good for effective change for all, not just, beating the drums of white supremacy. Let's start talking about inclusion, true inclusion and equality, rather than disenfranchising and separation and division. That's...
I can't.
No, I hate to get on the subject of religion, right?
Jody.
No, but like, the devil is the devil, and the Most High God calls the devil the devil. As Rush Limbaugh, nobody cared that he dead. Good, he dead. Glad he dead. As ugly as we think that is, right? Or Vincent thinks that is what that is. Period. Right? Yeah. Period. That's crazy. And he used his platform for what he used his platform. He's dead. Thank God he's dead. Fine. And everyone should be willing to say that. Everyone should want to say that. To me, that is spreading the good word, right? To call the piece of trash out. Be glad he's buried. Hope they put him under maybe an extra 12 feet. And so we don't even feel any of this energy whatsoever. The rest of that is just like, again, the rhetoric. It's just still rhetoric.
Okay.
So, yeah.
So, Eric, did you read the article about the mayor in Texas that told the people, go fend for yourselves?
Did you see his chief of police on CNN bashing him as well? Not to mention the understanding of this, when the true test of someone losing their next election is when adversity strikes. snowfalls, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And he was ill prepared. I mean, very ill prepared. And then he got on the air and lied and said, well, the power outage only does this for the solar and all that other and electric, which only encompassed 10% of our residents. And that was a lie. So when you do something wrong, the best thing to do is to admit it and make the change rather than covering it up. And because everybody got on there and they just blasted him for the lies and the rhetoric. And I think people are like Rush Limbaugh. There are some people who are actually tired of that crap.
Well,
now,
Okay. I don't know how him telling people to fend for themselves has anything to do with an election, but okay.
Okay, him telling people to fend for themselves and the ability not to focus more on politics rather than the needs of the people. That has a great deal to do with his reelection, because a lot of people, as much as they don't want to believe it, a lot of people have long memories, and media recovers and replays some of that bullcrap on a constant. So if he thinks that he's going to get reelected after doing that number, then he is sadly mistaken. That's how.
Wow.
Well, so people listen. It's dangerous out there, man, in Texas right now because you know.
And there wasn't a way for them to prepare because they're in a sunny state that does not expect snow to ever come through. So the only thing that the township had problems with, or outside surrounding towns, is that they were doing rolling, and they've done them in
California.
They do them
just about everywhere.
They do them in many different urban areas. The most is where they'll cut off the electricity and the power, saying they're trying to save the power for when the storm is at its peak. And it's supposed to be rolling on and on, 3 to 5 minutes here and there. But what is happening in Texas is they've turned them off in some areas up to 3 days. They've been out of power. Urban areas, and then in the white areas, the power is still going. They never had a rolling outage. So that is one of the bigger issues that's happening down there, because they're not prepared. Texans are not prepared for snow. They don't have salt trucks to go out on the road and plows to get people out.
But is he managing their expectations though? So, there's. I mean, I do understand that, right? That you live in a region where. You don't expect it. Storm comes and it hits you. We rely on the weather people to give accurate forecasts. But they're not God, right? So they do the best they can. This thing comes rolling in, and it does what it does. The question is, then it's just about communicating to people, right? And then managing expectations. And so, I mean, has he done that?
But another thing is that one of the administrators said is the simple fact that to save money, they didn't insulate a lot of their power lines, which caused a great deal of the outages. And then the rolling blackouts, as Diane said, was disproportionate.
Yeah. Caller, go.
Hey, man, we'll disagree with all you guys, man. Preparedness, we need all to learn the word preparedness, and especially in the age of climate change. These storms, the science says that these storms are going to become increasingly extreme, and for a state's industry who moved itself away from the federal government, not to be prepared is criminal. And for every life lost down there, they should be charged. And for the mayor down there, that is typical language for environmental issues. Survival of the fittest, and you're on your own. If you're in a community with industries polluting the air, killing the people, you're on your own. If you're in a town where your water is bad, and pollute it, you're on your own. Go out there and fend for yourself and get water. If you're in a place in these ages where industry is doing so much harm to the environment, and for people to not understand what preparedness is, we're all in trouble. That's all I'm going to say on the topic.
Appreciate you, brother. Stay safe out there on the road, Mike.
No, I'm sitting here on the couch watching y'all.
Oh, hey, there you go.
I'm a fair weather driver.
Listen, that's a way to stay safe.
I'm prepared, as they say.
I hear you, man. I hear
Have a
you.
good one. Have a good one.
You too.
Montclair put out an article, and they put out robocalls to tell people that anybody parked on the streets will be ticketed and towed, and the no parking goes into effect and remains in effect 12 hours after the last snowfall happens. And they tell people to park inside the municipal lots and that until tomorrow, because this is going to go into tomorrow morning.
Yeah, that's crazy. So I got and thanks, brother Eric Dixon sent me something, and I tell you, listen, we're talking about it on the show. We read the book, we reviewed the book on MSNBC, and I don't know when this was, but Eric sent me a screenshot. And here's a quote from MSNBC, and they've got the book cast there. It says, "It is a danger to the species and to the planet to have this depth of unexamined grievance and discontent in the most powerful nation in the world. A single election will not solve the problems that we face if we haven't dealt with the structure that created the imbalance to begin with." Now, see, this is why I keep going back because unless you deal with this, so all these people, which is where I was before, right? Where I said, we're talking about electing another person. Well, what's that gonna do? I mean, that's what this quote just said, right? What's it gonna do?
Well, and that poster is correct, but and the operative word or the active word in that poster is a single election. It's going to take multiple elections to change or even put, a dent in some of the issues that we face. And I agree with that wholeheartedly.
No, I'm gonna read the second quote, right? Because this was a second screen of that first screen on MSNBC. Quote, it says, "Regardless of who prevails in any given election," not just one election, it says in any election. It says, "Regardless of who prevails in any election, the country still labors under the divisions that a caste system creates, and the fears and resentments of a dominant caste that is too often in opposition to the yearnings of those deemed beneath them." See?
Yes.
Right. So, go ahead.
Go ahead. No, go ahead. I'll comment after you.
And this is what I'm gonna say. That's why I still got the book up, even though we finished it, right? And I told you the next book that I want to talk about is White Fragility. But if we don't have at the foundation of all of our conversations an understanding of this system, if that's not where we're starting, it's just like if you when you're doing algebra, right? You have to understand very basic math, right? If you don't have those very basic principles down, you're gonna fail as you move forward over here. And my fear is, as they said here, regardless of any election. So we're busy trying to win elections. That's what I said before. Remember I said, instead of seizing power, seats instead of power. So we're busy trying to win elections as opposed to understanding what the real game is. So moving pawns across the board, shifting this one out for that one, shifting it. We think we're doing something, but we're like the hamster on the wheel 400 years later, still under this system. So, like, when Eric sent that to me, I'm like, man, it is, it is cool to. Well, I mean, my hope is because they've got a much bigger platform than we have, right? My hope is that they are honest about dealing with it. And what I mean by that is that it's not just a throwaway segment on their show.
So Eric, you should look at the interview. I told you about it before. I think it was on Lawrence O'Donnell's show. But it was an interview with several Black people, political, right? But it was interesting, and it was along your lines of how you feel about it. It wasn't Lawrence O'Donnell suggested that every American needed to read the book regardless of race. Yeah, it was good. It wasn't just fly by night. And as they were doing it, they were putting up those quotes and different things people said about it. You should see that interview, and I know you can Google that.
Yeah, I'm gonna go do that. But what I think is necessary though, Jody, is this: if he believes that every American should read it, right? Then they need to figure out how to, in every show, have a segment of that show talking about it, right? Just continuing to talk about it. Think about this. When Lawrence O'Donnell decided that he was going after Donald Trump, right? He made it his business every single show, right? Every show. Please mute your phone. Every single show. And I'm saying, so if he really understands the importance of this, right? Every show. Like, we got to give it the attention it deserves. And that's what I'm saying. So if you do it on one show and then you go, well, every American should be. No, but if we're understanding that we as a nation can't move forward, we can't accomplish the things that some of these people say that they want to accomplish. And look, I don't think that a lot of them are men and women of good character, right? I think that they say what's necessary to get elected, right? So it sounds good. But if they are sincere, right, I agree with this. That, like, regardless of what you do, like, that ruling class, right, is so, you've got to destroy it. You got to completely dismantle it. And if that's not the focus, all of the other stuff is just rhetoric. Right? So we need, like, they need to be, it just needs to play over like a loop, over and over and over and over everywhere. That's my belief. That's my belief. And I think that, yes, every American needs to read it, but you know where they need to start? They need to make it part of the curriculum in the schools. In the schools. They need to make it part of the curriculum. And now you got Lawrence O'Donnell, right? He's got a big platform. Right? He, Rachel Maddow, all the rest of those people, they should be pounding the drums that this should be in every school. Every school.
No, that's not their plight.
Right.
Nor is it what they would use their platform for.
No, I understand that. And that's why when they talk it, I'm going, well, solution. Here's a solution to get to this. Because I agree. So no matter what, so you all spend your time talking about getting this one elected, getting that one elected, this one needs to be out of office, that one needs to be in office, blah, 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 blah. But you also understand that doing that, right, is like putting a Band-Aid on like a cancer wound, right? That you're really not solving anything. You're just dressing it up. But it's festering, and you know it. And then you're not acting in an urgent fashion to do anything about it. And so I just look and go, you're full of shit. That's it. I go, you full of shit. Whatever's coming out of your mouth, because like my grandmother used to say, I can't hear what you're saying for what you're doing. I can't hear what you're saying for what you're doing. So I'm looking at what you're doing, and it does not equal what it is you're saying. So I go, you full of shit. It's that simple. And that's why, see, these quotes here, right? I'd like to hear the president say that. Like, we can't, I don't care who wins this election. I don't care if you all elect me, Biden. I don't care if you elect me. Bottom people, your circumstances will not change until such time that we destroy this system. That's what I want to hear him say. Because that's the truth. That's the truth. All the other stuff is just smoke and mirrors. So, Brother Dixon, I appreciate you sending that to me, man. And Jody, I'm gonna go because I banned MSNBC from my house.
Oh, by the way, speaking of tech,
I did. I banned it from my house. Like we don't watch it.
Speaking of Texas, the senator of Texas, Ted Cruz.
Yep.
Amid of all the power outages and water crisis in Texas, guess what he's doing about it? He's traveling to Cancun.
Look. I mean, yeah. I'm like none of this stuff. Like I'm telling you, I'm not shocked by any of it. Like I'm not shocked. Like, do you really? What do you expect him to do?
I expect him to go and talk to the president, maybe push for a national emergency, get some funding there.
Why?
Why would you expect that?
Why? Yeah.
Why do I expect that?
Yeah.
Because it is, first and foremost, a fundamentally right thing to do.
Right. Oh, so is he a guy known to do the right thing?
Not that I've seen recently.
Right, and so why do you expect him to do? That's what I'm saying. So yo, I think we need to be quicker at calling the shit, right, and like recognizing it. So here's a guy who's not known for doing the right thing, so I don't have any expectation that he's gonna do it. I'm not shocked when he does what he does.
Well, I'm not hugely shocked about it as much as I am appalled.
Yeah, I just move on, right? It's like a train wreck. And I'm like, you know what? I don't want to rubberneck because I don't want to hold up traffic. I just keep going. Just keep going to trying to get to my destination.
And that's what he's doing.
Yeah.
He's getting to his destination, yet leaving everybody behind.
Yeah, well,
but he only has that ability because of his position, which is granted to him by the voters. So I can't understand why they would his next election stand for that bullcrap.
Well, I mean, you could figure this out, right? Like I said this yesterday. See, we got to understand what the issues that what a guy like Ted Cruz understands is exactly what Donald Trump understood, what Mitch McConnell understands, and right, that the demographic that votes for him, right, they are willing to eat a spoonful of shit as long as you tell them that they'll never be black. That's it. Like they figured that out. That like at the end of the day,
white America right now in Texas, even though they're going through some bullcrap, they are lulled to a false sense of security because what they're experiencing is not as worse as what the black people in the community are experiencing. Is that it?
Yes, they're telling them, listen, we're going to secure the borders. We're going to keep foreigners out, right? And you're not going to be outnumbered. And you're not going to be black. Or outvoted, and you're not going to be black. That's it. And so when you argue with them, well, your health care is going to be this, they go, oh, yeah, okay. But my priority is to maintain my hierarchical status, to be a member of that group. That's my goal. That is my number one goal in life, to make sure that I got my membership card. That's it. Because in the end, membership has its privileges. And that's where they are. And so
I like that.
and so Senator Cruz knows exactly what to say to them. So I'm not shocked. I'm not shocked at all by any of it. I'm just, I just want to, I want to hone a conversation and a message that that challenges bottom people to step outside of their comfort zone, right? Because that comfort zone that you've been lulled into is dangerous. You're in simmering water, right? And you're boiling to death, but it just feels comfortable because the heat isn't turned up. And that's kind of where I am. I just want them to understand. There was a guy in a thread who I used the term bottom people, and he was offended. And he said, bottom people? And I said, yeah. I said, tell me where you are in this hierarchical structure.
Oh, speaking of the water turning up, they just did a report and stated that the effects of COVID-19, it means that one of the biggest effects is that people are now having a shorter life. They say that white America lifespan has been shortened by 1.25 years. Hispanic Americans lifespan has been shortened by 2.5 years.
Come on, bring it home. Bring it home.
Blacks' lives have been shortened by 3 1/3 years.
At the bottom again.
2.3 of a year.
At the bottom again. And so, yeah, give me a vaccine. But you know what, though? Outside of giving me a vaccine, tell me what you're going to do so that when the next pandemic comes, I'm not at the freaking bottom again. Right?
See, I don't want to beat that drum because it's going to start the Eric Dawson Niagara Falls syndrome.
No, but it is the only drum that I'm beating, dude, because I'm at the bottom and I'm getting stepped on.
Our previous administration, or before Trump administration, did just that, and theirs was to send in an advance team to eliminate or lessen the spread hitting the United States. And he put it in a manuscript, put it on his desk, and wrote "Pandemic for Dummies."
Yeah, but you're missing the point that what I'm saying, though, is that the position of bottom people, they were still at the bottom, right? It's just that the pandemic. It's just that the pandemic didn't whatever would have been, whatever might befall me wasn't there, but I was still in my position. I'm like, I don't want to be in this position anymore. I don't want to be beholden to somebody else to hold back something. See, I want to know that if that shit comes, right, that that my life expectancy is going to shorten like theirs did, right? Mm-hmm. That when this thing comes, if it comes, right, I want to know that. I want to know that if a storm comes, that I got a boat to get in. That's what I want to know, right? So now the storm may come, but I got a boat. I don't have a boat. I don't have a boat. Nobody's ensuring that I have a boat. But you're saying, you know what? Don't worry about not having a boat. We're going to keep the storm from coming. I want a boat. That's what I want. I want a boat. So, what else is going on? Diane, local. Yeah. Can we talk local for a second?
Yeah, we can.
Yo,
go ahead.
Well, did you say you're about to go loco or local?
We'll give you some local stuff.
And here we go, Niagara Falls.
So, let's talk about your neck of the woods, Diane.
Which one? Township and Hillside?
Yes.
Or county?
Yeah, no. Well, let's talk about. Well, we go hillside and then we go out to the county.
Go ahead. All right, go ahead.
So there was an announcement made
Yes.
that the current mayor is running for re-election. She believes
Yes.
that she has done an amazing job.
Wait a minute. You said what?
She believes.
Oh
that-
yeah, she believes that.
oh yes, that's the operative phrase. She
Yeah.
believes. She
She
believes.
believes that.
Yeah, she's delusional.
She believes it, and there's always some people that will support to believe whatever she tells them to be, the truth. But it is not true. She's raised taxes, and this is her 4th year. 3 times, considerably a lot. She's been in negotiations with companies for them to get tax breaks for several years while she's raising the residential property taxes. So yeah, she's been doing a fantastic job in her own mind.
She's a legend in her own mind.
Yeah, she's a legend in her own mind. I know the Democratic Party has not announced who they're going to support. She did not come out saying that the Democratic Party was supporting her. They had a falling out somewhere at the beginning of her first 6 or 7 months. On the county level, the county decided to change the bylaws for their district leaders and extend their terms to 2023. They were supposed to all be up for election this June.
So how does that impact? So what? So why the maneuvering? Why do you think?
So there is going to be some challenges, I believe, on the state Senate level, and they need to keep their district people on the ground in position and not to flip any seats, because there has been a chairperson in our town in Hillside who has been indicted by the feds for various different things, from lying on a FAFSA form for his son.
So wait a minute. I want to stop for a second. I'm gonna get back to all of that. But so you have district leaders who run, right? So when you get a ballot, it will say the person who's running, the seat that they're running for, and the length of the term.
Right.
Right? So when I cast my vote for you, if it says that you are running for a 2-term seat, and I'm saying, you know what, based on this information, right, the fact that you're running on a 2-term seat, I am saying yes, I'll vote for Diane for these 2 years, or two-year seat, right? I vote for Diane for these 2 years. And now you're saying so with these district leaders, people did that, and now they changed the bylaws
right before it would be time to put the petitions out for their new election.
How is that legal?
Well, what do we say about the Newark School Board? If it's not in the bylaws, then it's very obscure as to what can be done. So what did they do? They learned from what the Newark School Board did, and they changed their bylaws so that they can extend the term for as long as they want, and they extended it for another 2 years. So the documentation. Go ahead. Go ahead, Jody.
Jody?
Okay, so so they extended it to 2023, so which means all the district seats in the entire county of Union will be extended, which is in favor of the Democratic Party, because they control those district seats. Those district seats, individual district members then will vote in their particular town for their district chairperson. That district chairperson will be the person that will be represented, as well as the district leader seats, who vote for the county district chair. So right now, the county district chair in Union decided, I guess, and it hasn't been announced yet, that there's going to be someone running against him for his Senate seat. So in order to keep his people corralled, to go out there and beat the ground the way he needs them to get the support, he needs to keep his people in place.
Wow.
All right, I do have a question.
Yeah.
Diane, you think that Patrice is running because I remember that a large part of the beef was with that chair that's now been indicted? Do you think that that's why she feels like she has a chance because she wants to throw dirt on that now chair?
No, she was going to run for re-election anyway. Her ego, she was going to run regardless. Him going to jail for his various crimes is icing on the cake. And he didn't even get caught up with icing on the cake from Hillside or Union Township stuff. He got caught up with stuff in Essex County mess. So no, that was just icing. That was something that was going to come down for the last 3 years, and it was just slowly trickling through the feds and everybody else, because they got so much going on in New Jersey. They bounce from one town to the next. It's nonstop with political stuff. People misusing money for campaigns and stuff like that. So they're all over the place. They'll be down in Camden soon, or they'll be back. They just left Patterson and they were in Jersey City. So now it's Union County's turn, and they're still in Essex County doing what they're doing over there. So yeah, they make their rounds.
Okay, all right.
So welcome to New Jersey politics. So yeah, so now the other thing that's interesting with this, because of Vertrice, the current mayor, is she had support from the Union 1199.
Yes.
I don't know how that's going to go over, because I know there has been a lot of dissension between her and the Union. So I don't know if she will be supported by them publicly, if they'll come out, or what'll happen. So that'll be interesting to see.
So there's a war brewing.
There's always a war brewing in Hillside. We have never had, since we've had elected mayors, one mayor that has had 2 terms. Ever.
Wow.
Ever. So, and we've probably had, let me think, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, probably 8 mayors.
Oh my
Since
God.
we've come out of the system like Union Township, the round robin, and everybody just becomes mayor. So we actually started voting. I believe we've only had 7 or 8 mayors, and all of them have had 1 terms. Literally. And this is what I said before. You don't need 4 more years to do what you've already didn't do in the first 4 years, because that's a lot of time. And you can get a lot of stuff done in the first 6 months, or the first 30 days, like our president, or not. 38 days. I think we're up to 42 days now, 44 days. So you don't need years. You can do it in days if you choose to do stuff,
I think that's the operative word, if you choose to do it.
Well, listen, folks in Hillside, I mean, I hear from you a lot, about how, how bad things are in terms of services and such. So, I mean, maybe people will step up and speak out. I don't know.
I doubt it. I don't think it's anything any different than before. They'll be on Facebook complaining, but that's it.
That's it.
And they won't even come to the council meetings that are virtual. So I don't foresee anything changing for the better of the residents. I don't, and it's unfortunate, but it's just what it is.
I got a subject I want to throw.
Go ahead.
So did you see where Joey? That's my new name, but his name is Joey. Joey turned on another campaign promise, and he's fighting with Democrats, not just the left-wing liberals.
Wait,
moderate about that 50,000.
what? Not the student loan debt.
Yeah.
No, not that. You can. He said, "I'm going to leave it up to them to decide."
Listen, not only did he say that he was going to leave it up to them, right? But he said, and Congress should come up with some legislation, a law, so that it won't be quickly overturned. Joey actually went against his own executive orders. Now, he wants someone to come up with some legislation so that it can't be overturned. I said, look at Sneaky Joey. Look at Sneaky Joey. Yes.
So So there's an article in the paper that says Democrats have been pushing President Joe Biden to cancel the $50,000 in federally held student loan debt for roughly 43 million Americans through executive order. The president is not planning on doing this. I quote from Biden, "I will not make this happen," he said during a CNN town hall on Tuesday night, and asked if he would support the cancellation of $50,000, adding that it depends on whether or not you go to a private or public university, and he's opposed to saying that he was going to, quote, forgive the debt. Billions of dollars of debt for people who have gone to Harvard, Yale, and Penn. The giving the $50,000 for each person could cost roughly $1 trillion. He said the president argued that money would be better used, in quote, to provide for early education for young children who come from disadvantaged circumstances and free community college. So he says that $1 trillion would be better used towards education as opposed to canceling your debt. So yeah, he's backpedaling now. Well,
sounds more like he's having. Sounds like he's having more of a screw you party with the progressive wing.
Shut up, Jody. Shut up.
Say it, Jody. Go.
Nope. See, that's that craziness, right? That's that craziness because either I'm on another planet or he just doesn't want to be on my planet, right? But this is not the progressive party of the wing. It is moderate Democrats because he said that when he was running. That was one of the things he ran on. He said that he was going to get rid of student loans. Oh, he said a whole bunch of stuff, right? But this is not a progressive party argument. Democrats, the party, says that he should do that, right? And now, because Diane didn't read it, I thought she was going to go and read it. Now, when it comes to this issue, now all of a sudden we need legislation. Cut his mouth. But okay, I'm gonna find it for myself.
So Wednesday, yesterday, Representative AOC Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez said, in quotes, "One, who cares what school somebody went to? Entire generations of working class kids will go into more debt under the guise of elitism. This is wrong. Two, nowhere did it say we must trade off early childhood education for student loan forgiveness. We can have both."
That part is true.
Well, listen. So guys, understand this. So here's the thing to understand about Joe Biden. He said he was going to be a one-term president. Right?
Obviously.
But we have to look at this. So usually a president, newly elected president is working toward re-election, right? So, and Joe Biden's not working toward a re-election. And that's why I listen and take what he says literally. So when Joe Biden stood up and said, nothing's going to fundamentally change, right? I heard that, right? I wasn't blinded by the narrative that was being pushed out there that the sky was falling under Donald Trump. I heard that. He said nothing's going to fundamentally change. And so now, when things are not changing, right, I don't expect him to, because he said they weren't. So I don't expect him to. I'll be shocked if they do, because he told me they won't. And he doesn't give a damn because he's not running for re-election. So he don't care what you think about him. He listen, they reported it early on, right? And why Democrats decided to rally around him instead of completely destroying, like my father said, those who you won't let die won't let you live. And they didn't let him die. He was on his deathbed politically. And they did not let him die. Right?
I was being sucked out of him.
They didn't, and that's right. And they didn't, and they, I say kick him when he's down. And they didn't. They didn't finish him. Mortal Kombat. Right? They didn't finish him. And so now that guy, he's the one who stood and talked about the people who he represented, those Wall Street folks, right? Their
He said,
interests.
I'll tell you, in an article in 2019 in June, Joe Biden, here's the headline, Joe Biden to rich donors, nothing will fundamentally change if he's elected. Along with praise for the civility of races, Biden assures donors, quote, no one's standard of living will change.
Right.
He goes on to say, the former vice president assured rich donors at the ritzy New York fundraiser that, quote, nothing would fundamentally change if he is elected.
And all of them knew that. They like so I'm saying all of the candidates who ran against him knew that, right? They know what was said. And at some point they were
because I mean,
No, it's not wrong. It's his exact
I think he has implemented some fundamental changes. So I don't agree with that quote.
So you don't
An executive order for $200.
you gonna agree with what he said?
But-
It's not what he said. What
so
he
when
said?
we say so we gotta be clear on what we mean by fundamental.
That may be the issue.
Right. What we mean by fundamental, right?
Mm-hmm.
Right. So
I'll tell you, he goes on to say, Biden told donors at the event at the Carlisle Hotel in Manhattan on Tuesday evening that he would not, quote, demonize the rich and promise that, quote, out of his mouth, no one's standard of living will change. Nothing would fundamentally change. This is
Okay, now that part, yes, because the way you read it before, the quote was that him being president, nothing would fundamentally change. But and I remember that quote that you just made.
So what I said before, I will say it again. He said at the blah 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 blah.
I remember him saying that financially, nothing will fundamentally change. I remember that.
So what the hell is you talking about then?
Okay.
Wait,
Where the disconnect came is that you quoted a New York Times.
All right.
Is your brain between
No.
your mouth?
So listen, I wanna
Well, the disconnect doesn't have to actually end with start with an insult.
right. So here's what I want to do.
What I'm trying to get is clarity on your statement, because to me it sounds like you were quoting the New York Times saying that if Biden's pregnancy won't make a fundamental change.
So here, I want to.
Now that you
Go ahead, Vince. I'm sorry.
I said nothing to New York Times.
I'm sorry, Vincent. Go ahead.
And this is how I know you're not listening.
Oh God.
You just want rebuttal, but you're not listening. Because I never mentioned the New York Times.
So here's what I want to what I want to say is this: fundamental, right? Because words matter, right? So, and maybe we could look in any dictionary you want, but I'm going to read this one: forming a necessary base or core of central importance, right? A central or primary rule or principle on which something is based. So, right, the structure.
So what he said was true.
Right, so the structure. So he's saying structurally, nothing's going to change. Structurally, right? So, do you understand what I'm saying? So all of this stuff, so we can paint the walls, right? We could paint the whatever, right? We could do all that stuff. We can move furniture around, but the structure.
Like my brother, if you're not tearing down the wall.
But the structure, right? If it's a 4-room house, right? It's a 4-room apartment. It's gonna stay a 4-room apartment. We may paint the walls, but it's gonna stay a 4-room apartment. We ain't gonna change that. We're not gonna tear down no walls. We're not gonna erect no walls. We're not gonna do any of that. Structurally, it's gonna stay the same. And what's needed,
Running on that analogy, right? But acoustically, it would. Your brother had to build that room because he needed better acoustics, right? And that is the structure. So when he's saying structurally nothing will change, he's basically saying, and the rich will stay rich.
Right. That's right.
It's the Donald Trump's whole ball game. And that's what we mean when we say that even though they're in two different parties,
the goal is the same.
fundamentally are the same people.
Mm-hmm.
So
Well, what he was saying to, and this is my interpretation, what he was saying to the rich is that, yeah, there are going to be some tax increases, but it's not going to be anything that's going to change the structure of your building. It may change the acoustics.
But you just did, right? But you added to the statement. Diane, you made her wrong by giving her something she didn't say. But he didn't say your taxes was going to go up.
Hence,
added that. Now you speak for Joe Biden, and we don't need you to speak for Joe Biden, right? We want to, as Eric said, just keep to the facts, right? You added to a statement he made. He didn't say, "I'm going to increase your taxes."
No, what you're doing,
offensive words, not Joe Biden's words.
No, what you're doing is twisting what I said. And in the beginning, I said again, and that's why I asked her for clarity on it, because I wasn't putting together all of what she was putting down. So now that we have the clarity on that,
right.
That's what I said, and I agree with Eric's definition, which goes along with Biden's quote.
Right. So I just want, look, at the end of the day, guys.
On the rich will not change their structure.
Oh, taxes. He never mentioned
you put something in there.
Yeah.
It's not about
Yeah. So you're hoping. See, and this is hope. I get it, right? So your hope is that what he means is that. That's what your hope is. I got it. I'm looking, going. See, I'm not extending him that courtesy.
Absolutely.
See, you want to extend him that courtesy and say, I'm hoping this is what he means.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And right, so I understand that.
And keep in mind that is the same courtesy in the beginning of his presidency I extended to Donald Trump and every other president, because I want to give everybody the opportunity to prove themselves.
Right, but no, and you know what? So, but here's what I'm saying, Vincent. So, and I get that, right? But structurally, because of a system that exists, we know certain things won't happen. They can't happen until this other thing happens, right? So we can hope against hope, right? For something that'll never occur. Like it just like if I never head south, I won't go south. Like if I'm going east, you can hope I'm going south, but you go, dude's heading east. And I'm going like, no, he's never going in that direction.
Okay, and then we have to look at, because what I'm getting, or the disconnect that I'm getting, is the content in which the quote of fundamentally changing goes to. Now, if we're talking about taxes and decreasing the wealth of the top 5% in the United States. Or are we talking about the condition of which you always call the lower class? Now, that's where the disconnect goes.
What he's saying to them is your station in life, your position in life, how you're viewed, right? Your membership, right, is going to stay the same. Nothing is going to change.
No. He said that it is going to change, but it won't be anything fundamentally. It won't be anything structural. But he did. But if you look at it, he is stating that there is going to be a change.
Right.
It just won't. He's not amputating anything. He's putting a Band-Aid on something.
Right. So here's an example. I'm gonna give you this example, right? Right. No. So here's an example, right? So membership, right?
Give a disclaimer to the listeners that Diane is
right.
Mind.
So I'm gonna go back to the membership has its privileges, right? Which is an American Express saying, right? So if I got a black card, right, and you tell me that my membership's not gonna change, so I'm gonna keep my black card, you're just gonna put it in a different envelope when you mail it to me. Right? I don't care about the envelope.
What is that you got a black card, but the interest rates on a black card is going to go up 2%.
No. See, that's what I'm saying. What I'm saying is this. What I'm saying, Vincent, is this. That what he's going to be doing is more surface than that, right? That literally he's going to change the color of the envelope. So it's still going to come in an envelope. right? But the color may change, or he may put it in an envelope that's using recycled paper, right, or something like that. But that card, that is the structure, that is the thing. So I don't give a shit about what envelope it comes in. I just need to know that that my card, my black card, is gonna function exactly the way that it's always functioned. So he goes, I'm gonna package it differently for you.
No, and what I'm saying, and that's your
Right,
interpretation.
right. And so what I'm saying, no. So we agree, right? So you're hoping.
We agree that that's your interpretation.
No. That's what I'm saying. We agree that's my, because I said I'm not giving him a pass. You've decided to give him the benefit of the doubt, right? And you're hoping.
That's where you are twisting what I said.
Okay.
Now, we agree that we agree that that's your interpretation.
Right.
My interpretation, using the black card analogy, is that he's saying to them, "You will still have your black card, but there is a 2%."
Did he say that? Did he say that? Did he say that? Wait a minute, no. I want to ask, but what I'm asking is, did he say that? Did he say that? Was there?
Now, let me say it again, Eric.
Yeah.
You had your interpretation,
right,
and what I just gave you was mine.
Right.
That does not mean that that's what he said verbatim.
Okay.
That is meaning that is the way I'm taking
it. So here's what I would caution. Here's what I would caution people of, right? And look, all we have is history, right? When we got to go back, and so when and this is why I always go back, right? As opposed to saying, well, why do we go back? Why do we look in the rearview mirror, right? Because we got to know where we were, right? We got to know these things. And there are people who have given us, who have cautioned us about certain kinds of things. And so I'm listening to him, what he says, what he's historically done. There is nothing in his history that suggests that he's going to do what you say.
That's not true at all. There are things in his history that suggest that he would do that.
What? Name them.
Well, let's look at the $30 billion crime bill.
Oh my God!
Let's look at here's another. Let's look at the hostile work environment.
What did the crime bill do? And to talk about the hostile work environment, he didn't talk about everybody. He talked about the gay, lesbian, LGBTQ community.
He also talked about women who were harassed with sex on their job.
Wait a minute. Eric said, let's look in the rear view mirror. Okay, my mother used to say, it does not make sense to read if you do not read and comprehend, right? So that's just like looking at a whole bunch of words on a page, but reading and comprehension is something like so different, right? So Eric saying, let's look in the rear view mirror. So that would mean in the 40 years prior to those damn executive orders you're talking about today, right? In the 40 years prior in Joe Biden's career.
Yeah.
What has he done?
That's right.
Stop the rich from getting rich and the poor from getting poor.
Exactly.
No, the example I gave is that him doing something that adversely or that brings about change that does not fundamentally change everything, because the crime bill was the crime bill and the war on drugs was financed against a tax deferment a tax increase that 0.25% came from the wealthy. And a 0.5% came off the middle class. It's the same process.
Yeah. Call a go.
I'm sorry, Vincent. The crime bill is a bad example to bring up in this argument because he also said in that town hall meeting that he's not going to defund the police. And him having an active role in incarcerating people whoever funded it, your tax dollars, everybody's tax dollars went to privatize prisons and making people wealthy. So when you bring up the crime bill, that just the most of your argument, it's insulting because the crime bill did more harm than good. And now they're trying to straighten it. No, I'm not finished.
No, I'm sorry. I thought you were finished.
No, you thought like Nelly and thought peanut butter was jelly. So when he started talking about now not defunding the police to correct the wrong that he did, because he said he was going in doing that. He was correcting all his wrong. Hold on.
Okay.
You made the same mistake twice, which means it's not a mistake. It's intentional. You're rude now. But to bolster your argument, you use the crime bill, and now today he's talking about not defunding the police is should be a slap in the face of every Black Lives Matter person that got behind him and put him in office, because we know what the problem is. The police have become more of a militarized force as opposed to securing people's safety in the community. You can get pulled over and be dead. And nobody, matter of fact, they'll give a person a paid vacation. This is what defunding the police is about, and he's fundamentally against that. But go ahead, Vincent, and be intellectually dishonest.
Well, let me be intellectually correct and give you the facts, rather than you calling me dishonest. And you know what? No. I did.
No. Mike, let him. Mike,
you talk, right? I did let you talk.
Mike.
You're confused.
Mike.
Again, now you did it 3 times, which means you're intentionally rude.
Okay.
Yeah,
Mike. Mike.
Rude like I'm being now. You're confusing
Mike.
facts with opinions. Your opinions are not
Here are the facts. And
I want to hear
from the town hall meeting that he had.
Yeah.
He the campaigner said, no, I'm not going to defund the police. But
he didn't.
Yes, he did.
No, he didn't, Vincent.
Yes, he did. Because Donald Trump even brought that up in the debate. Oh, he wants to defund the police. He says, no, I am not trying to defund the police. And he is doing exactly what he said in his campaign promise. He said that we will not be paying for private prisons, in which he did take care of. He said that we will not defund the police, and what the Republican narrative was to not give money to the police so that they could not hire enough people. No, he said what we would go to is more community policing, giving more money to things like setting up community centers to give children a place to go and a safe space. That is community policing, and police in the community is what community policing is. Rather than you are interrupting me again, which means that one, you don't want I would like it, even when I interrupted you. I said, I'm sorry, I thought you were finished.
Yeah, let him finish.
Which means you are being intentionally rude and obnoxious.
All right.
Because you can't, because of the simple fact that I accept that. Which means that
I apologize.
And for the 5th time, I accepted that. So stop interrupting me with your apologies. Now,
so I recognize what you're doing.
So what you could do is actually give me the respect that you demanded.
But we can't go on in our community tolerating
again, could you
and black folks talking Jim Crow style language. And see, it's more insulting to me that you've taken on the language of Jim Crow to defend a power structure that's indefensible. You can't defend this man.
No, what is insulting to you is that I'm breaking down and dispelling the myth in which you want to believe.
No,
you want to, yes, and then you can
because you dwell in the myth.
Then you sit up here. What you were doing once again is changing the subject and the narrative in which you started, which I was dispelling. Because that's why you consistently interrupt me rather than actually listen.
So wait a minute. So, hey guys, I just all right.
Now I understand. I understand that what you do is intentional.
Wait a minute. Okay, but listen, this is devolving, and wait. So two things, right? So this is devolving, and people who are listening are not getting information. So I want to get back to this Biden statement about defunding. So, and so while you guys were at it, I went and did some research, right? And Biden, in a July statement prior to the election, replied yes when asked about redirecting funds, right? So he used the term redirect as opposed to defunding, right? But that's just semantics.
Well, one, in terms of redirecting the funds is, like I said, not giving cities money to buy militarized equipment, but yet using the funds for more community policing, training, and a whole lot of other things. Like one of the big things and big movements that they're doing is, instead of police going to a mental health crisis, which usually ends up in somebody getting shot or tased, they bring out counselors, social workers, and psychiatrists to actually defuse it. The other part of is using defusing tactics to decrease violence. The other part, and funding for that. Also funding in terms of getting the community and civic groups more involved to take care of things like minor crimes, community watch, etc., which is more of what we need to stop crime, rather than to bring police officers to be community advocates rather than warriors against everybody who they get a call against. Now, so and again, when you said that Biden is switching, where you campaign on defunding the police, it was the lie that the Republicans were saying to scare all of the middle class white people into not voting for Biden because he was going to increase crime in their neighborhood.
What was the lie? What was the lie that Biden told?
Biden didn't. Well, ask him. He's the one that's saying that Biden lied.
Well, you're trying to figure out what he said.
Right, like he said, he was going to read and that's the true definition. But now he's standing there saying that he's not even going to do that.
What do you mean? In his 100 days, one of his first executive orders was to eliminate the private prisons.
Oh my God! They're going from defunding the police. So let me tell you. Let me point out how you're being intellectually dishonest. We were just having the conversation about policing, and now you bring up an executive order about privatized prisons.
It's okay, Mike. Know why? Let's read what he said about executive orders the other night. He said.
No, let's not change it to the other night and change the subject. I want to get to the heart and where he said Biden was lying.
You brought up executive orders, right? So I just want to make it clear on the executive orders that he actually said that the Congress, the other night, same conversation, that Congress should make sure that they do anything they do with legislation because it would make it harder to undo. Right? So those executive orders you keep spewing out, even the man that wrote the executive order recognizes that they don't mean much of anything. That, and I quote, Congress should make changes to legislation which would make them harder to undo. Please stop throwing those executive orders that out. Please.
Again, now we discussed this. Jody, we discussed this weeks ago, that executive orders are temporary and that they don't have the permanence of it actually being enacted into law. We've already discussed that. Now,
Okay.
man, we're going. No, wait. Please let me finish. Please let me finish. So, what does that have to do with the initial conversation I was having with Mike?
No, because what Jody is saying is that why aren't we moving this? Why aren't
Bring
we?
up executive orders in terms of policing?
Okay. So you keep saying you use the executive orders over and over again as if they are legislative actions and you're standing on them. Well, even the man that wrote them is now saying, now when I do it, guys, this is basically what he's saying. I'm going to do a Vincent on the audience because, I'm going to just throw my own words into Joe Biden's mouth. What he's saying is, hey, when I do them, they're good. For symbolism at the very least. But if you guys want to do something and make it stick, do it through legislation because it'll make them harder to undo. So stop using them as an argument. It's what I'm saying to you.
Now let me say it. Let me say it again, Jody, so that I can be very clear. And let me break this down to you. See, executive orders has nothing to do with legislation. It's an executive order done by the commander.
We understand that
by the executive. No. So let me make it clear to you, okay? So that you can stop trying to twist. Jody, please, I let you talk. Now let me. Okay? Now, I'm not throwing out an executive order as this is legislation because that would make me incredibly stupid.
No,
I don't. A liar.
I don't think.
So now, when I said executive order, meaning order done by the executive or commander in chief, which again we know does not have a huge staying power, or the next administration or the administration beyond that can change the executive order.
Right.
So again, it would be very much. I would be a huge jackass to make a point of an executive order being a legislative law.
Right.
So please stop twisting my words.
But I don't think that Jody is saying that. Wait. Reset the room. Let me allow me to reset this. I don't believe that she is saying that you're doing that. I think that what she is saying is that you're giving weight. You're giving inappropriate weight to his executive orders as though they are legislation. Like, so she understands that it's not legislation, and she's saying that it should be, and that we should be pushing for that, and not do the happy dance when he signs another executive order, because we understand that even Joe Biden acknowledges how easily they could be overturned by the statement that he made the other night when he said, hey, this should go through Congress and it should be legislation so that it can't be easily overturned. That's what she's saying. She's not.
Agreed.
Right.
Now, I'm not giving weight of him doing an executive order in terms of it being legislation or permanent law of our land. What I am doing is giving weight to the existing fact that he is doing something, moving towards his promises in the campaign.
I got you. And so I think that, and so again, I'm just trying, and I hope I'm clarifying this. I think for the listener, when the accomplishment is an executive order, for a listener who's unclear, right, may give undue weight to it, right? And I think that what Jody is just trying to highlight is saying, hey, just make sure you're mentioning that this is some temporary shit that he's doing. And don't make it seem as though this is some like heavy shit that he's doing, right? That yeah, he's doing it, but let's give it its due weight. I think that's what she's trying to say. And for the listener, for the listener who may not be able to, who doesn't understand the difference, right? When you say, well, hey, Joe Biden's signed 38 or 40 whatever executive orders, and somebody goes, oh shit, he did a lot. Right now, here's the asterisk: an executive order is temporary and can be overturned. And I think that Jody's going to make sure that we're mentioning that when we talk about the accomplishments, that these are like that they're heavier, right? They carry more weight. They're more substantive if it's legislation. If he does so what Joe Biden said. Let's go back, right? We had 12 o'clock, but Joe Biden said, I'm a guy who can work across the aisle. I'm a guy who can roll my sleeves up and get the work done. Joe Biden is the guy who, when interviewed with George Stephanopoulos, said, no, we don't do executive orders. You should do it this way and get consensus in the House, right? That guy isn't rolling his sleeves up right now, isn't pulling from the left and right of the aisle to do the hard work to do this thing. He's signing with a pen. And Jody's just going, yo, let's just acknowledge that.
And again, because we talked about executive orders, I think his second day in office and how it doesn't have. And Jody even pushed the fact that, you know what, forget executive orders on the on the level of the field thing that he's doing and the equality. She wanted it to be a law. So yes, she's very clear in terms of the power of the executive order versus legislation.
Right.
Yet again, in terms of Biden and what is he doing with executive orders? And in my opinion, yeah, I can understand he is choosing his fights and which ones to go for and which ones to actually go through the House, get it on the Senate bill, and get it into law. And he's also aware that of the obstacles involved with that, like what they're doing with the stalling. So I'm going to make this next in the next 12 seconds. Okay, so if we are unclear in terms of executive order versus legislative power, then that should be clear.
I think you don't understand that you just described what I said initially. Fundamentally, nothing will change.
Thank you.
See, when you have legislation, so wait a minute, can we agree to this? Wait. Guys, can I say this? Vincent, can we agree that when you have legislation, there's fundamental change? When you have, so for instance, Joe Biden, when he got elected, right, went and reversed a whole bunch of executive orders that Donald Trump had, right? So in those executive orders,
not to cut you off, a lot of the courts.
Not to cut you off, but he did cut you off. But go ahead.
Hold that thought. A lot of the courts interfere with Donald Trump's executive orders as well, so the courts can dismantle your executive orders.
Right.
Too.
So right. So what I'm saying is this. So there was no fundamental change there, right? Because they could be, we saw, right, with a stroke of a pen, just kind of wiped away, right? Like the water rolling across the sand after you write your name in. It's not permanent, right? And so fundamental means that you make that there's some permanency to it, and by him doing this, so to me, because I've worked a lot of elections. I've never worked a presidential election. I'll admit that. But in the elections that I've worked, from governor's elections down all the way down to board elections, right? Everybody talks about what they're going to do in their first 100 days, and a lot of it is busy work, right? So that you can say, yes, I was really busy. And for people who don't know, who can't really discern, they can get caught up in the busy work and go, yeah, you did a lot. But I think what we're trying to, we just want to focus on it. Look, I want to see, because we said, and you said, Vincent, and I agree, if we're gonna hold our foot on the pedal, this is holding the foot on the pedal, right? And going, and I'm not letting up on him, right? I'm not letting up on him. I'm listening to what he said. I'm watching what he's doing, and he said nothing fundamental is going to change, and so he's doing some temporary stuff, not permanent stuff. He's not doing the hard work that he said that he was qualified to do, which is why he should be the guy. His 40 plus years. He said, I'm the guy who everybody trusts, and I can go and talk to Republicans, and I can talk to Democrats, and I can pull them and push them to do these things. And I'm going, that guy's not doing that. He's doing the easy stuff. Sign these things, which can be wiped away when the ocean comes across the sand and just wipes it away. So I want to see the hard stuff, because if he does that stuff, then that stuff is more permanent. And then there's fundamental change. But he said, and so by his own actions, right, and doing this temporary stuff, there's no fundamental change. And that is the thing that concerns me. That he's doing what he said. He's doing exactly what he said. There'll be no fundamental change.
And you know what the problem is? The problem is, right, that...
But here's the thing, Eric, and quoting them saying... I'm sorry, go ahead, Jody.
Understand that, exactly. It comes the same intellectual dishonesty that Vincent shows, Joe Biden shows, right? Because if I understand that an executive order isn't going to change anything, right? But I'm spread to America, because just like Vincent's views on this show, Joe Biden, listen, he put the mask on, he did the whole little show, and signed his first 25 on the first day, and then he came back, and he made that, Eric. He made that seem as real action, right? And then as soon as my back is against the wall, right? Soon as my party now, because that's what happened the other night. The other night, the Democratic Party stood up against him and said, do this. Why aren't you doing this? Which was something he promised to do. Then it became, well, Congress should do that. Make sure you do that by legislation so it's not easy or overturned. Just that same dishonesty that Joe Biden shows. When Vincent says something, and then we go through this game of him spewing some more of his rhetoric, right? And then hey, Joey, let me tell you what an executive order means, right? You're just giving him more.
I'm sound like he mansplaining.
Yeah.
Doing that.
Excuse me.
Yeah.
The audience, and it's not fair to me because we're not on nighttime TV, and I can't cut them out like I really want to. So it's not fair to keep giving it. You don't think that Vincent knows that executive orders mean nothing, but when he can use it, he'll use it, and then he'll act like he's teaching us something.
See, excuse me, Eric.
Go ahead, Vincent.
Eric, I gotta do another show.
Yeah.
But in closing and saying goodbye to everybody, I think it's unfair to me that you consistently want to twist my words to make me lie and when I'm telling you the facts. And I really hate that. You should stop that. So have a great day, everybody. Love you.
Hey, love you too, Vincent.
Love you too, buddy.
So, look, guys. And in closing, I want to say this. This is to me the hard work, right, that Dr. Eddie Glaude talked about. And I kept quoting him during the election where he said, it's easy to talk about Donald Trump. That's easy, right? It's the other stuff that's hard. So now Donald Trump's not around, right? So that easy target is gone. And so now the hard work of holding accountable, right, those who we've been conditioned to be in love with at any and all cost, we now have to re-engineer our thinking, right, to look skeptically at them, right, and the same way we would Donald Trump. Right? And say, hey, wait a minute. He said this. He's doing this. That doesn't make sense. This is what, and we have to do that. We can't, we can't be lax here. And as we focus on him, right, we then have to turn our sights to our local electeds and say, hey, I see this. Why are you not talking about that? Why aren't you pushing from your position, right, as mayor or council person? Why aren't you taking the platform you have and talking about this? See, because again, it's easy, right? They were all out there whenever they could talking about Donald Trump. They used him to get reelected. A lot of local elected officials, right? Right? Right. So they were paying attention to some degree, with what was going on the national level. And I'm saying, hey, guys, continue to pay attention, right? So continue to pay attention and help us discern the lies. But they're silent now. And they're silent because they've all been purchased. So they won't talk about what Biden does and isn't doing. The smoke and mirrors and all of that stuff. Your mayors won't talk about it. Your governors won't talk about it. Your senators won't talk about it. So that's why it said, what? Fend for yourself.
Yeah.
Fend for yourself.
Yeah, it's the same thing the governor does. I mean, the mayor down in Texas said, you know what I mean? You're on your own, buddy.
You're on your own. You're on your own. All those people that you elected that stood up there, vote for me. I'm a fight for you. I'm a fight. They ain't fighting for nothing.
No, absolutely
Nothing. Listen, go make yourself some cocoa. Eric Dixon, I'm gonna put and Jody, I'm gonna text you the information about the kombucha, and enjoy it. It is really really good for you. It is so good for you.
Yes, it is.
All right.
I can't wait till I get some.
Now, what's the name of the drink again? What's the name of it?
It's called kombucha.
Kombucha. I put it in the picture.
I'll put everything in the feed in terms of how to make it and what it is and all that kind of stuff. And then Jody and Eric, I'll text you guys individually, so you have it in your inbox or in your text inbox. All right.
Eric, why don't you put a little video on it?
There was a video.
No, you. Why don't you do a video?
I could
How you
do.
make yours?
Yeah, I could do a video of how I make mine, but these people do like a 20-minute comprehensive video on how to brew it, how to do the first fermentation, how to do the second fermentation, different flavorings and all that kind of stuff. And they do a great job. Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, it's almost like making wine or something.
Well, it's fermented tea. Mike.
Yeah, but you have to ferment wine, right?
Yeah.
You make it.
Yeah, so you use this thing, and see, I got to go look it up so I can tell you. It's called a SCOBY, right? And SCOBY, I'm gonna look it up again. A SCOBY.
Where's the SCOBY from?
I got my SCOBY from Amazon, right? But you could borrow. So you could I could give you a SCOBY, Mike, because mine grew another SCOBY, right? But a SCOBY is a symbiotic culture of bacteria and yeast, right? So there's an environment that develops within that jar, right? Of bacteria and yeast, and it feeds off of the sugar that. So when you first, I'm gonna do this real quick. So when you first do it. So if I gave you a SCOBY, you would boil some tea. Black tea is best because it just holds up better because they tell you to brew it for about 15 minutes or so, right? So it just holds up better. So you brew the tea, and then you put some filtered water in to cool it down after you put in about 2 cups of sugar. Then when you put the SCOBY in, the SCOBY is going to start to feed on the sugar, right? And it's going to create this environment that is going to begin the fermentation process of your tea, right? After about 10 days, now your fermented tea is kombucha, and you can drink it like that. But now the second fermentation, and Jody said she went and bought some. So what you bought was carbonated, right, Jody?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And so the carbonation happens during the second fermentation. So they add, I don't know what yours was flavored with, right? So my second fermentation, like I said at the beginning of the show, I put pineapple in some, I put mango in some, and I put soursop in some. And so the bacteria continues to feed off of the sugar, and now you seal it. So in the first fermentation, Mike, the reason there's no carbonation is because you don't seal the jar that the tea and the SCOBY is in. You just put I have a piece of organic cloth. No, you don't want to use cheesecloth because the fruit flies can get through the cheesecloth. But you can get some natural organic cloth, and then you just lay it on top with a rubber band, right? So that's why you don't get the carbonation. But in the second fermentation, because you seal it after you, so you pour your fermented tea in, and then you put your fruit in it, right? Then you seal it. Well, as it's eating it, right, gases are created and there's nowhere for the gases to escape. And that's where the carbonation occurs in the second fermentation. Don't I sound like I know what I'm talking about, Diane?
Yeah, absolutely.
But no, I do. But it tastes amazing and it is very good for you. The probiotics, the bacteria, the good bacteria, it's good for your gut, right? It's good for your gut.
So it's gonna make you poop.
All right. And I hate to have, because we're supposed to be off by now, right? But you know what's interesting to me is that so I ran into kombucha by reading about probiotics and prebiotics, right?
Uh-huh.
Gut health is the most important
Yes.
thing, right? And so it is so strange to me, right, that all of these things were there. Now they're like really big, right? Probiotics, prebiotics with good bacteria, right? It could have saved so many people in our community from illness.
Yeah.
And it's
That's for
something,
lack of
I don't know
knowledge.
if it's about poverty, right? But it's something how these things are just coming to be. And if it wasn't an Eric Dawson or, you know, I look at a lot of YouTube videos about probiotics because it is kind of complicated, right? It's so sad that this isn't something that people know that gut health. I never knew
Yeah.
how important your gut was.
Well, you know what? Can I tell you something?
And that's crazy.
Something else that's really interesting. So my sister, I told you guys, she was diagnosed shortly after I was diagnosed with cancer. She was diagnosed with breast cancer, and she just changed her entire diet. And fortunately, from a financial standpoint as well as a time standpoint, because she's retired, her husband, who I love him, I mean, he takes great care of my sister. So she's home, and she's a vegan, and she eats all organic, right? So her whole day is preparing food. Like literally her whole day. And so when she talks to me, she goes, you know what? I'm just in the kitchen cutting and cooking and cleaning and cutting and cooking and cleaning. And she said, I thank God every day for Kevin, that's my brother-in-law. She said, because if I wasn't retired, I couldn't do this. And I said, so here's the thing. And she knew what I was going to say because she talks about how people should eat healthier. I said, but there are two things, right? Time and money. Time and money. I said, you have both of those things and you're blessed to have them. But think about the people in poverty. Like you just said, Jody, they don't have the money. And because of poverty, they don't have the time because they got two jobs, right? And so when they get home, they got hungry kids and they're looking for something to feed them quickly. And then unfortunately, and we don't have enough, so you're going to get me on my soapbox. We don't have enough. We don't have enough elected officials to stand up, right, against these fast food restaurants that want to put, like you go Bergen Street and Market Street, you got a freaking Wendy's on one corner, McDonald's on the next corner, and then you got Checkers on the other corner. And then right across the street, you got Georgia King Village. Come on. You got to stop that.
And listen, even in the food stores, right? I just had someone that, sick blood pressure, blah, blah, blah. And I'm trying to tell them some things to get. And I said to them, listen, right? This is going to be expensive. It is expensive to eat healthy, even in the food store, right? To buy vegetables. And so I'm on it, right? So I buy a lot of leek because I found out that broccoli, while it's a probiotic, a leek is a prebiotic. And if you want to get your gut really strong, you need both feeding, right?
Mm-hmm.
He was like, Jody, come on, right? I'm saying, hey, listen, eat blueberries when your heart is bad. I call them blueberries, like a heart potato chip, right? I eat them out the bucket. But I had to explain to him, but your bill in the food store, it's gonna double.
Yeah.
But this is the cool part about it. If we do that as a community, right, to shop in the food store, pay that extra little lump sum, then you don't have money for that Wendy's and that Burger King And yeah, because that's killing us.
Yeah,
And it's sad.
it is.
But what your sister is doing, so I don't have a husband, right? So I can't stay in the kitchen. But on Sunday, I prep out.
Yeah.
Prep out for the week.
But you know what you could also do, and we should talk about this. You can have co-ops, right? So for people who don't have time, right, but understand the value in it, right? Create networks of people, right? Who who could help out. Like you said, Jody, you prep out on Sunday, right? But there may be somebody like my sister who says, hey, listen, I'm spending my days at home and I'm doing this. And if you didn't have the time, but you cooperatively purchase whatever, right? Then it could be prepped. But I think we need to, I think that is the solution. We're going to have to figure out how to work cooperatively within the less affluent communities in order to make it work. We're gonna have to figure that out.
Yeah.
And then the other piece is this.
Those sales taxes are what the politicians and these local shops that are not good for the community are surviving on. That's their bread and butter. So if we got to organize around getting people in that see the value of health, But go ahead, I'm listening.
No, but there has to be a solution. But but isn't it scary that all of these folks who say that they're here to represent you, that they don't fight for any of those things? None of them.
It's part of the problem because we don't always know what we want. We aren't vocal about what we think we should have for our community, or on the flip side, we don't think we deserve something, so we don't ask, and we don't to do it.
And we don't necessarily know the type of politician that we want. You have to be able to identify the slick language. I'm coming in creating jobs and I'm going to make the community better.
Yeah.
You have to be able to hold them to the fire. What do that mean?
Listen, I'm telling you, everything they're feeding us is bad. The food and the education, all of it. It's all bad. It's all killing us. All of it.
Yeah. True.
All of it. Well, listen, guys, stay safe. This was a great conversation, and we just got to keep having them. And they're tough. They're hard. All right?
And don't put your furniture outside.
Let me go get my dining room table.
Pick up your furniture now.
I had to put a note on the guy's car yesterday. Like, look, man, you can't put the debris in front of my house. You live four houses down. Every time I come out my house, I see this piece of wood in the chair. I can't. I'm 3 weeks now. Come on.
Yeah.
I don't want to come out my house and see a piece of wood in the chair. But go ahead and show Eric.
No.
Talk about.
Yeah. All right, guys. Be good. Be safe. And we'll continue this conversation tomorrow. Check out. Oh, last thing. If you read Cast, that's great. White Fragility.
That's our next book.
Oof. Listen.
That's the next.
Oh my God.
As we can see, a fragile ego will make you run from the show.
Listen, I want to support.
Snows in tomorrow. You stay home tomorrow and sit on the couch and talk to us.
I want to support board members who want to make these books required reading. That's it.
They have the only way we could require them to make that mandatory reading is we too, as the people, read the book. Because otherwise, we don't know. Like I go back to, we don't know what we should have if we aren't investing in ourselves to find out, and then we can push them to tell them what to do.
This is true.
Okay.
And Jersey has a new, what was it? A school. What is she? A new commissioner for the Board of Education. Straight from, I want to say I don't know if she was born and raised in Newark, but I know she comes out of Essex County and Union County education system.
I went to school with Angelica Allen.
Okay, Irvington. She's from Irvington. I couldn't remember.
In Irvington.
Thank you.
Absolutely. Eric, that's a good idea, though, right? Because I remember reading at the least You
Yeah.
could probably get that done in the community if you asked it to, if we started off as a summer reading list.
Huh. All right.
That's a good idea.
That is a good idea. And you know what? Yeah, you know what? We're gonna have a conversation about that.
Absolutely.
We'll have a conversation about that. Thank you guys. Love you all.
Have a good one.
Have a good one.